So I'm Shriti, I'm from India, and what I do is I'm founder of Structure, and we're a green building material company, and we look at waste, and we believe that there are limited resources on the planet, and it's only going to become more and more finite. And considering climate change, we can't take more from the planet anymore. So we use what's already abundantly available, but not looked at, and use that to make sustainable building materials. And those materials help to make your buildings sustainable, more functional, and insulated. So it's better for the planet, better for the people inhabiting those buildings, and it helps the farmers from whom we collect this raw material, which is straw, and helps to increase their income, make them feel they have another source of income besides the main crop that they are sowing every year seasonally, and also makes more carpenters that we work with, because we can't work without them. They have to go put these materials in the buildings. And it helps them to transition into green jobs, because sooner or later buildings have to become more and more green, so they're already equipped to work with green building materials.
I will often say that what we've learned about those entrepreneurs that aren't just building companies, but are disrupting systems, is character, is this idea of the moral imagination. Shruti, you have a fancy degree from a fancy university in construction management. You worked in New York City and you had this fabulous trajectory of your career. You left it and you lived literally in a rural village for a year where you couldn't speak the language of the people who were there. And you're a woman in construction, and you are starting to succeed in doing construction in a completely different way that truly moves from just profit to putting our earth and human beings at the center. Where did you find this strength, and how has this community been of support or inspiration, and what would you say to young people?
I think because I started alone in the village, like the idea struck me where I was just like there and nobody to discuss with. I think my entire last 4 years of journey of building Structure, I've always looked at building smaller communities and tribes, starting from founders, female entrepreneurs, people who are doing similar work in climate change and ecosystems. Because it's not because you want to learn from each other so much, but just to have each other to talk to and just check on each other. So I really I so closely hold a lot of the fellowships and incubators that I've done. So that's, I think, where I get a lot of my strength from.
And is there something specific about Acumen, or is it just you are so spectacular that you can do any fellowship? Is there something different about the Acumen Fellowship, and if so, what is it?
So I think Acumen was the first fellowship that I did. Until then, I had done 4 incubators and 2 accelerators, so I had a bit of an experience of that. Is that most of them would focus on the business, and in Acumen was the first that focused. I still remember when I went for my interview, I felt I would not be selected because no one asked anything around my business model, and I was like, okay, maybe they don't like me. And then when I got selected, and I still remember the first week, it was the end of the first week that I realized that there was a reason that specifically each one of us was there in the room, and it felt like there was reason why I was there and someone else specifically made it to the group. And that sense of picking people and making sure people of different experiences and character are there, I think that was something unique.
The diversity of
the diversity group, which had more to do with people as individuals and the experiences than the businesses that they are running. I think I still don't know about a lot of people and their businesses, but I know everybody as an individual. And I think that and especially as a solo founder, I think at that point of time for me in 2020, it just gave me a lot of people to add to my tribe that I really go back to.
Interesting.
Again, it's so much about making sure that you as a person feel nourished, so that you then as a founder or co-founder could then do the work. So it's always like starting, how are you feeling? And you often have these calls with your investors and other stakeholders. No one's usually asking, how are you doing, sort of a thing.
Like I said, you work in a really hard industry. And you're trying to change it on every level. What gives you hope?
What gives me hope? So I get the most hope from the people who usually are considered to have the least decision-making power in our stakeholder system in construction, which is carpenters. I have to often struggle so much with architects, builders, the people who are on the top of the decision-making ladder, who could really push this. But it's the carpenters where I see that when they accept the product in a day, when they are like, oh, I can work with this, versus my, mainstream material I've been working with for decades, make me believe that if they can accept it, there's, hope to get other people around it too, because it's usually, it's counterintuitive. You think people who are more educated would get it sooner, but it's the ones who probably are getting no incentive to switch, get it. And I think that just makes me feel that what we are building has value, and if they get it, others would too.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.